Super Tuesday presented by Toyota makes its first ever visit to Colonial Center in Columbia, South Carolina. Gamecock fans hoping that their team can pull an upset over the third-ranked team in the country. Kentucky Wildcats looking for another 20-win season. You look at the SEC East, Kentucky alone on top, undefeated. And looking for number 20, Florida right there. South Carolina could desperately stand to go above that 500 mark. Welcome, everybody. Brad Nessler along with Rick Majerus. Rick talking with Dave Odom. I could just tell that he thinks the loss to Auburn over the weekend is going to haunt him all year long unless they can pull an upset tonight.
No question about it. This is a big game for both teams relative to tournament play. Kentucky's trying to maintain its #1 seed. A loss here would almost virtually ensure that they would not get that. And South Carolina's trying to get in the tournament, and a win here may ensure that they can.
All right, let's take a look at our star watch. A couple of guys that work hard on the inside.
Hayes is a great low post player. He passes out of it. He's a clinic in terms of how to play efficiently with the ball on the block, and he's a rebounding machine. Carlos Powell is a scoring machine. He's got the long ball, the mid-game, the runner. He's got the whole package, and he's a lefty to boot, which makes him very difficult to guard.
Sparks and Rajon Rondo, the freshmen in the backcourt. Azubuike, Hayes, and Morris up front. Kelly and Kinsey, the backcourt for Dave Odom. Powell, we just talked about Bachman and Chappell will start tonight, the big 6'10 senior banger. So we're all set. Gerald Boudreau's got the ball in hand. We're just about set for the 41st meeting between the Gamecocks of South Carolina and the Wildcats of Kentucky. It's Super Tuesday, and here we go from Columbia. The Cats will have the ball first.
Starting Chappell's a good move. It gives him a physical presence, and it gives him fouls. He's a banger.
And he's banging right now against the freshman Morris on the inside.
Morris killed him last time because he got him on the angle and got him on the side.
Look at those
They're trying to front the post.
Boy, they ever. Now to 14 on the shot clock. Rondo takes a step back, looks at Tubby Smith. Now it's Azubuike on the drive against Bachman. Good job by South Carolina defensively on his opening possession. Morris has to force one. Didn't get it up there. It's a shot clock violation. Boy, what a way to start for South Carolina defensively under Dave Odom.
Bachman could be the worst nightmare for a guy like Azubuike because he's not only long, he's a quick jumper, he's a great anticipator, and he does a terrific job of moving his feet with a wide base.
South Carolina, the first time these two teams met back in early January at Rupp Arena, shot beautifully. They're the only team that shot over 50% against Kentucky this year. They'll need another night like that. Backdoor cut. Got a little too deep underneath. Did Kinsey, and he couldn't get a shot away. And now they're under 10 on the shot clock. Here's Trey Kelly on the dribble. Chuck Hayes flashes out to pick him up. Kelly trying to dish underneath. I don't know if I've ever seen a game start with 2 shot clock violations, both in either direction. Tubby Smith happy with his defense. Let's check in with Heather Cox.
Brad, just 3 days ago, Kentucky led a 21-point second-half lead against Georgia, slip away and eked away with a 9-point win. Following the game, the Wildcats had their tail between their legs in the locker room when Tubby Smith went on a 15-minute tirade saying, "We're fortunate we're learning this lesson after a win and not a loss. Be men, take responsibilities. You let down your fans. You don't deserve to wear Kentucky jerseys. They don't want that margin to be close tonight, leaving like they lost, regardless of the score."
Steam still coming out of their ears from the lashing they got against a young Georgia team that hung with them for most of that ball game.
What we missed there a little bit was the 1-2-2 press of South Carolina, which is really a nice call by Dave Odom to slow the tempo of the game and get Kentucky under control.
Inside, South Carolina scoring first. Now makes it 2-0 Gamecocks. Sparks inside, goes against the tall timber. Bachman snatches down the rebound.
When Bachman doesn't block, he disrupts. He disrupts passing lanes, and it's not about the shots shot blockers block, but about the ones they change.
Hayes got that one, but the stick back by Chappell's good. Kentucky 0 for 3 from the floor, and South Carolina with an early 4-0 lead.
Everything they didn't do defensively against Auburn Saturday, they're doing right now.
Hayes kicks it out to Sparks for 3. Rebound Bachman again.
This Bachman's like a young Rodman. He's very athletic and got great hands. Best of all, though, he pursues rebounds. And for a thin kid, he plays through contact.
Here he is offensively. To the cutter, Sparks with a push. on Terrence Kinsey.
Here we see the drive. That's Chappell. He gets it, puts it up with his left hand. He just has to score what comes to him. He's had a bad habit of putting the ball on the floor. They've addressed it with him. I like to see that about him. He's certainly listening to the coach's warnings regarding that.
South Carolina 2 out of 3 from the floor. The only one they missed, it was Chappell on the putback to give them the 4-point lead. Bachman inside, lost his balance a little bit, kicked it out to Kelly. He had a shot blocked by Rondo. That's why Rondo's got 53, now making 54 steals. Sparks gave up a 3. They pack it inside, and Hayes is fouled by Chappell.
You talk about good turnovers. I always kept a column for that. I also talk about good fouls. I like the fact that he put the lumber to him there. If he wanted to swat it down, sometimes these guys got to realize it's post defense is played more with your body and positioning than it is with your upper body. And you want to take the Duncan playbook and jump second. Plus, this kid doesn't want to leave his feet at all. He's not a leader.
And he almost backpedaled on his free throw there. Looked like he lost his balance. Chuck is a 75% free throw shooter. That one wasn't even close. 6'6" senior out of Modesto, California. The masked man from Modesto, they call him now, after the broken nose suffered in the Tennessee game. He's been wearing the mask ever since. Didn't miss any time. Basically, I don't even know if he missed a practice. He might have missed one. That's how tough he is.
Hey, what? I had some heart surgery. If I need a transplant, I like to get it from a guy like him. No, this kid's all heart. He's got big heart, and he loves to play the game. His enthusiasm for the game is infectious among his teammates.
That's Kentucky's first point. It took them almost 3.5 minutes to get it. Greg Kelly, Bachman picked up by Azubuike. Shot off the mark from Powell, out of bounds to Kentucky.
Now, if you're going to take bad shots, and South Carolina's been plagued by that, I don't know if for your best player that's a bad shot. Bachman has done a good job today of making good decisions and not taking bad shots, which has been a little bit of a trademark for him.
Here's Morris inside, hammered it home. Randolph Morris, the freshman, cuts the lead to 1.
And that rebounding is Kentucky stock and trade. Billis alluded to that earlier, and he's right about that. They are a rebounding machine. It's because of size, it's because of depth, and it's because of their competitive nature. If Tubby's teams do anything, they're great competitors.
There's no doubt. It's always been the case. Not just his teams in Kentucky, but Tulsa and Georgia as well. Kelly had it knocked away from behind by Rondo. We got a timeout with 15:41 remaining first half. Carolina, the early lead. They lead the Cats by 1.
The NCAA Women's Basketball Championship begins March 19th.
When it comes to shipping, talk is cheap. Mistakes aren't. Ron's got the horsepower. They've got the planes, the technology. Truth is, I don't care how they do it. I just care that my packages get there on time. Hey, all I ask for is perfection. Other than that, I'm pretty easy.
UPS delivers more packages on time than anyone. UPS, what can Brown do for you?
Isn't it time for a more productive meeting? Microsoft Office Live Meeting, the service that gives you the power to meet with 2 to thousands from virtually anywhere. See for yourself with a free trial. You can present to clients around the globe, train employees in multiple locations, even launch a new product. All with just a PC, a phone, and an internet connection. It's web conferencing at its best, from the company determined to make it even better.
There are riding mowers, and then there's the Edge cutting system. Only John Deere gives you the edge. With dependability beneath you and your John Deere dealer behind you, you'll always have a John Deere yard to look forward to. Own a John Deere now starting at $14.99. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Welcome back to South Carolina, where the Gamecocks have the early lead. And for Kentucky's leading scorer, Kelena Azubuike, the game tonight has become secondary, considering the events that took place today in an Oklahoma courtroom. Azubuike's father, Kenneth, was sentenced to 4 years in prison today once he was found guilty of 41 counts of fraud. That sentence does begin April 17th, includes those 4 years of prison, as well as restitution and 5 years supervised release. Kelena's response today, he was relieved it was only 4 years. Now, from a basketball perspective, Coach Tubby Smith said Kelena's done an amazing job not letting his family struggles affect his play on the court.
As I said before, I think his spiritual and his faith has always pulled him through anything, and it's doing the same for him now. And we wish his dad nothing but the best.
And Brad, tonight will certainly be the ultimate test for Kelena.
Boy, no doubt about that. And he's been in double figures 6 of the last 7 games. The only one he hasn't been was the Georgia game, and I'm sure his dad's problems were heavy on his mind. He only had 6 points the other day against Georgia, but a heck of a kid, a leading scorer on his Kentucky team, and it's got to be tough, Rick.
Tell you what, his dad raised one wonderful son, and that's probably the most important charge you have in life as a parent. And collegiate life is all about compartmentalizing and the division between academic pursuit, athletics, and actually his social life. So he's got to just block that out. Whose parents among us haven't made a mistake?
South Carolina has had the lead through the early portion of this game, and shot clock. Second time it would have expired, but give Rondo credit for the steal instead. He's a stealing machine. Here he is on the drive. Ran out of real estate and almost turned it over. In fact, he did. But he made a great play on one end and not the greatest decision on the other.
He's a disruptor defensively because, first of all, he has warp speed, and he utilizes that even more on defense in terms of covering short distances. He's long-armed. He has great hands. He's an anticipator, and he does a good job, especially good job of a freshman, of maintaining some stance and vision off the ball.
Inside, Chuck Hayes got a hand on that one and loosened the ball. Chappell inside, going against Morris, scores again. So Chappell, whose season high was 4 points in his last game, the loss to Auburn, already got 4 tonight in the first 5 minutes of the ball game.
And South Carolina goes to his zone.
Sparks knocks it down. That's his first hit after missing his opening 3.
Chappell ran to his conventional center spot, and what they're doing is they're just getting their 3 bigs back to any spot. That wasn't Chappell's fault. That was just a good observation by Kentucky to find the priority shooter on the floor, which is Sparks. If you're going to zone, you've got to know where Sparks is. Remember the Tennessee game where they forgot?
That's right. Here's Powell. Chappell keeps it alive. Stepped on the baseline. South Carolina turns it over, but John Chappell is doing a nice job here early. The senior who saw very limited playing time his first 3 years, and if the name rings a bell, it should to basketball fans, not just in the South, but all over the country. His dad, Len, was an All-American at Wake Forest, led the Demon Deacons with Billy Packer and company to the Final Four in 62.
Here comes a lean. Kentucky usually zones up, and he comes in. We'll see if that happens.
Sparks momentarily got away from Troy Kelly. Hayes on the low block. Open man, Azubuike. And Kelena drives and scores. And Kentucky's got its first lead.
Azubuike has a tremendous quick first step.
Kelly trying to shake Rondo and can't. It's not Rondo right now. As a matter of fact, it's Ramel Bradley who's just checked in.
And this is where Kentucky worries down. They play in waves. They use 10 guys, and they all get minutes.
Bachman skipped a little bit and turns it over. Now here's the guy that Heather just talked about, Kelena Azubuike, the junior, on the drive, his first score.
See, when you close out and come to a catch, you've got to go low, slow, and under control. On that closeout there, the defender from South Carolina stayed high and closed out with too much speed. Azubuike recognized that and just blew him off.
You can see one of the lowest scoring top scorers, if you will, in the SEC, averaging 14-1 a game. He's the leading scorer on Kentucky's side.
And it's a testimony of Kentucky's unselfishness. That might be the quietest, most unselfish 14 points a game.
That's right.
We'll see.
Here's Chuck Hayes. Azubuike again. Got around Bachman. Up and in again. There's the quick step that Rick was talking about. Kentucky by 3.
It's rushes head and shoulders by his defender as well as anyone collegiately.
Rocky Trice, who's in the lineup at one of the guard spots now. So is Josh Gunner. Gunner is not necessarily a gunner, but he is a spark as a scorer off the bench.
He has historically played better when he makes his shots. He has a tendency to play backwards on misses. By that I mean he gets down on himself.
With the shot clock winding down, they had to take a shot there. Now rejected inside by Aline. And South Carolina gets it right back. Turnover for turnover each way. Gunner on the drive. Off the glass. They're trying to put it back up and in, and they do. UConn and Providence in a second overtime, I understand. Keep you posted on that game, or John and Jay will anyway. And Kentucky turns it over again. That's their fourth turnover. Both teams trying to pick the tempo up, and what it's done is seen a lot of balls going out of bounds. Kentucky leading by 1.
Tisby did a good job on that rebound, and now we have a young sophomore in Wallace. This kid here reminds me of Channing Frye. He's got a wonderful outside shot, and he can stretch and maybe pull Hayes out to the outside. He actually can hit a 3-ball very well. Look at the body disparity, though, between Hayes and him.
Yep. They're under the 12-minute mark. Kentucky trying to regain the lead. They'll get it if they score this trip. Tough to get around that guy, but he did. And Tisby has scored twice since coming off the bench. Carolina back by 1. Not easy to get around Aline. 7'3", about 260 with those long arms, but he went up and under. And now Carolina, they're going to force another turnover. Is it going to be a foul? It's a foul. 11:35 remaining. South Carolina leading Kentucky by 1.
Excuse me, are you still relying on your broker for investment ideas?
Got an alternative? I'm listening.
Are you kidding? Who's got time to do it yourself?
I invest for myself at TD Waterhouse. They make it easy to come up with my own investment ideas.
With tools like their stock screeners, TD Waterhouse helps you find investment ideas in the time it takes to make a cup of coffee. You can do this. Switch to TD Waterhouse, the alternative to Schwab and higher-priced brokers like Merrill Lynch.
2.1 seconds left. He throws it down the lane there. And grabs it this time. Fakes left. Shots up.
Relive your glory days in the Allstate Alumni 3-on-3 Classic. Sign up at allstate3on3.com. That's allstate3on3.com.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Toyota. Choose any direction as long as it's moving forward. And in part by Nike Pro Apparel and TD Waterhouse, the alternative to higher-priced brokers.
And welcome back to South Carolina. Carolina up by 1, and by the response of this entire place, everybody is loving the latest member of the Gamecock squad, Steve Spurrier. Welcome to South Carolina. And I know you had a legendary career at Florida, then a brief stint with the Washington Redskins. What is it like? What are the biggest adjustments going back into the college game?
Well, Heather, I feel very fortunate to be here, the head coach at South Carolina. These fans are wonderful. hopefully something good's going to happen for us. We got a lot of good players. We're excited about being here.
Talk about changes back to the recruiting trail now that you're in the college game. How has recruiting gone? And give us an early prospectus on the team.
We believe we had an outstanding recruiting class, and plus we got a lot of good players here. Coach Holtz left a good team. So we got a chance, but we got to go play well, coach well, all those kind of things.
Speaking of playing, you will actually play against your former Florida Gator team. How difficult will that be, Coach?
Oh, that's only one game a year. We're worried about Central Florida. That's our next one right now.
All right, Coach, we wish you the best of luck. We're looking forward to seeing that legendary visor once again.
Okay, thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
It'll only be a different color, the visor. It's good to have Coach Spurrier back in college football. Knocked out of bounds. South Carolina ball with 11:04 remaining in the first half. They lead Kentucky 10-9. And the starters for Kentucky, for the most part, on the bench. Hayes and Rondo and Azubuike and Sparks.
That's what Kentucky does. They wear you down with length, physical size, those wide bodies of Morris and Hayes, and then they play 10 men. And I'll tell you what, these substitutes really play within their capabilities. They do a good job of letting the game come to them.
Tough shot, the three goes. Kinsey from the outside. Boy, had a guy right in his face and he drained it. Kentucky will try to answer on the other end. They're 0 from outside the arc. 0 for 4 for Kentucky from long range.
This zone you're seeing, it's vulnerability with the rebounding.
And just when I said they were 0 for, they knocked one down.
That's the way it always goes. You say, talk about something in the foul line, they make one, or they miss one, depending upon what you had said about them.
Almost a midway point of the first half. South Carolina leading the Wildcats, ranked 3rd in the country by a single point. Wallace works it outside to Kinsey. Kinsey hit the last shot. Trice, nice crossover dribble, tries a couple of them, doesn't gain any ground though. With 4 on the shot clock. On the finger roll, there wasn't enough finger, but found the handle a second time, and that'll work.
I like that Wallace kid because he's got nice bounce and he stays with plays. Very good shooter.
And a steal by South Carolina. Garner on the drive. We'll go to the free throw line.
Nice call by the ref. What you're seeing here is they're fronting the post. The last game they played, South Carolina got caught on angles on the side of the post. Here they're fronting the post, so they get the steal. They push the ball hard. I love the way he takes it there, and that was a good call by the referee. He's not there, he's just sliding in.
Bradley with a foul. Gunner will go to the free throw line. Josh Gunner, a senior, played at Hutchinson Community College, native of Fort Worth, Texas. Had a season high in the loss to Auburn last weekend, had 22 points. And as Rick said, he can be a streaky guy. He can shoot you in games or out of games, one of those guys. Chappell comes back in. Wallace and Tisby go out.
Both these teams coming off of very subpar performances. Unfortunately for South Carolina, theirs resulted in a loss at home to Auburn. But Coach Odom got their attention. These guys are playing electric today right now with their defensive intensity, keeping the ball on the side of the floor. But I love the way they're fronting the post. That's what punished them last time.
Here comes some of that one-man full-court pressure following the free throw. And Perry's having trouble getting it in. Has to call a timeout. And I could tell by the look in Tubby Smith's eyes he wasn't crazy about that. So timeout taken by Kentucky. They trail by 4, matching Carolina's biggest lead of the ball game with 9:25 remaining in this one. And right now we take a look back on this date in college basketball history. Up 31 points, LSU was cruising against Kentucky, but Rick Pitino's Wildcats kept clawing and clawing and clawing. Kentucky starting to make some sounds like they're going to make a run here. Here they come. Kentucky is on fire. They only needed 2 to tie. McCarty for 3. He got it. They won it. Kentucky has pulled off a comeback miracle in Baton Rouge. And I look back at that one, I think that might be the most exciting half of basketball I've ever done. Larry Conley joined me in that one, and I believe that was Fat Tuesday, as a matter of fact. Here's a long pass to Moss. And I'm not talking about the Vikings Moss, I'm talking about Ravi Moss. And he's going to go to the free throw line. That's one way to break the press, I guess. Throw it about 85 feet down court to a guy named Moss on the receiving end. They just need Dante Culpepper on the other end.
South Carolina got baited into a little bit too much enthusiasm right here. There's no way that Chapel should have came up. He should have prayed to God that his other 7-foot counterpart there got the ball, because what was he going to do with it?
Right. So Ravi Moss at the free throw line. And rims it out. South Carolina, or rather Kentucky, has missed 2 of their 3 free throws. They are not a good free throw shooting team as a unit, and the starting unit is about set to come back in, with the exception of Moss, and Sparks will have to wait his turn. So just like changing up lines in hockey, Tubby Smith sends out the guys that started the ball game. The others sit, and Moss will have 1 more free throw. Tubby was an assistant here at South Carolina under George Felton for a time. So he knows Columbia well, and Moss missed them both. So the score remains South Carolina by 4. Kinsey and Kelly running the backcourt again. The starters in there for South Carolina, and on a baseline jumper, Kinsey got a good look but didn't get it to drop. Izanuki with a rebound.
Kentucky puts so much pressure on you to get back that you aren't able to send guys in. Here they're fronting that post again, and that fronted post, there's nothing more impressive than a fronted post, because that's the essence of collective thinking required for defense. You need ball pressure on the passer and a help side defender in there to come up and lock up the lob.
I'll switch it off now. There's a mismatch now because Morris and Kelly are together, and they get it to Morris. There's going to be a foul on Trey Kelly. They switched just enough times that the 6-foot point guard ended up with the 7-foot freshman.
And Hayes, of course, has the presence of mind to go inside of that mismatch, although he's wide open. He's really unselfish and really smart. As the night goes on, you're going to see Hayes come to set some screens and step up off on him. He's a wily veteran, experience of a lot of wars there.
Rondo will inbound on the baseline for Kentucky as soon as South Carolina sends in Rocky Trice back into the lineup. Kelly's going to sit down. Dave Odom might keep him there for 8.5 minutes. He's got 2 fouls. So the starting point guard, the sophomore, has to sit.
In their zone again. They're mixing defenses up, and that's given Kentucky some pause.
Morris, the hook shot, good-looking shot, just didn't drop for him, and the rebound comes off to Trice on the run.
Chappell got a hand up on that and stayed down, which is what he should do. He's not a shot blocker, and he has equal size.
Nice dish by Powell inside to Kinsey. Boy, that was a slippery little pass.
They are moving so well without the ball, South Carolina. Both as cutting and in screening for each other. They have excellent spacing as well.
Morris misses this time on a jumper. They get a second chance and they score.
That's the staple of Kentucky's game. Their deflections, their turnovers, and their rebounding. And not to mention their depth. These guys are all fresh off a nice 3 or 4 minute break.
You saw the big advantage for South Carolina, points in the paint. And this time South Carolina, I thought it hit Chappell last, but maybe not. Might still be South Carolina ball. We'll find out when we come back. 7:31 remaining first half. South Carolina maintaining a 4-point lead courtesy of the dish inside to Kinsey.
Units per transaction, then we could up the margins by a very sizable
ESPN's Dream Job returns with a new spin.
Welcome back.
As ESPN searches for the next NBA analyst, former NBA players Dana Barros, Gerald Wilkins, J.R. Reed, Matt Bullard, Dee Brown, and Daryl Dawkins are ready to take their shot at the analyst job.
I don't want no real job.
I lost it.
If these guys are off their game, they won't stay in ours.
Dream job.
The new season of Dream Job. Live Sunday, February 27th at 10 on ESPN.
It may start with the look. It may start with the sound. It may start with the feel. It may start with the drive. Or it may just start with a great offer. Visit your local Mercedes-Benz dealer for a special lease offer through Mercedes-Benz Credit on the 2005 C230 Sports Sedan.
The average driver spends a mere 1% of the time in reverse. Yet considering what's at stake, that's 1% we didn't want to ignore. The backup camera, available in the Lexus RX. At Lexus of Charleston.
Sean Saunders back in the studio in the Sports Center in-game. Double overtime for UConn in Providence. Rudy Gay finds Charlie Villanueva, turns around and drops the hook down. UConn trying to close this thing out.
Good one there, John. Good one going on here. South Carolina only lost by 4 to Kentucky in the first meeting back in early January in Rupp, and they lead by 4 here with 7:31 remaining in the first half.
South Carolina's done a good job of utilizing 4 defenses to govern the tempo of this game. They've had a little 1-2-2 full court zone press, a man-to-man press. They've played zone in the half court of 2-3, and they played man-to-man, and that's kept Kentucky guessing and caused them hesitancy. Therefore, the tempo of the game all in South Carolina's favor. Speed kills, and Kentucky can't get that accelerator to the floor fast enough.
Got one guy that's got that kind of speed, and that's the freshman Rondo. We've seen a couple of shot clock violations. Here's Hayes with a steal out to the guy I just talked about. Rondo had a block, and his whole body blocked. His whole body blocked by Bachman.
We're both so excited. I'll tell you what an effort.
Wow.
The 2 best athletes on the floor go head-to-head. Watch this. Nice lead pass. Look at that warp speed by both these guys. What a play.
Sometimes you block a shot, sometimes you block a whole player. That's what Bachman just did.
Oh, my God. Spectacular play by both guys.
And it went off of Rondo out of bounds for South Carolina, so they get the ball back on top of everything else. That one might make SportsCenter.
It won't be on Thursday Throwdown, though.
Thursday Throwdown to the floor, maybe.
Right, yeah. But you can get that on a Worldwide Wrestling mat pin down.
Three-pointer won't go, and whistle, foul, trying to get the rebound, and this one is going to be on Trice, and that'll be his second.
Watch this speed here, and watch that block, and he comes across his body. You know, usually you come off the rear end with your inside hand. That kid is a terrific athlete, Bachman.
They're still checking him over there on the sideline. That was his 15th block shot of the season. And he went to the bench as soon as he got back off the deck. Morris trying to work his way inside, off his knee and out of bounds. Back-to-back turnovers by Kentucky.
Here we go again. Look at Rondo run out. Look at his hands. Timing on that was nothing but sensational, and the effort by both players was superb.
I'm not sure he didn't hit one of the cameras on the baseline with his hand when he went down. They're still working on it over there.
What we missed is Lenny Chappell. That's his father, the former Great Wake Force player. But we missed Chappell leveling that drive off. Chappell has played a stalwart defensive game here.
He really has. And Dave Odom's going to his bench. Tisby's going to come back in. So will Wallace. And Powell and Chappell will go out at the 6-minute mark. 18-14. South Carolina with the lead. Kentucky's been used to having low-scoring opponents because they lead the SEC in defense, both field goal percentage and points allowed. They only allow 59 points a game, but right now South Carolina, the pace they're playing is just about perfect for it. Rondo, another attempted steal, almost ended up in Rick's lap, but it comes back to South Carolina. They get a shot away, and Sparks pulls down the miss.
Yeah, my luck, I can't get a cheerleader to land in my lap. Rajon Rondo, a human jet.
You almost had Rondo all over you, and Sparks knocks down a three. His 47th three-pointer of the year, and that cuts the lead to 1.
When you transition to zone, you better find Sparks. He'll drive that dagger in your heart. He really hunts the three.
Giving up a three that time was Trice. Almost dribbled himself into trouble. Gets it back. He won't give up this three. Wallace keeps it alive for the Gamecocks.
Nice board for the young guy.
Yeah, he put his arm right over the top of the Kentucky player who had better position and snatched it out of there. Nice feed on the baseline. Hayes got a piece of that one to block it. Here comes Azubuike on the drive. Galena goes up and he's fouled. He'll go to the free throw line. Let's check in with Heather.
Well, an update on fan favorite Ronaldo Bachman. He did injure that left hand. This is the same hand that he had surgery on during the preseason. What the trainers have done, they've put a protective hard cover around his left thumb. They're retaping him and do expect him to return to action, Brad.
He missed 8 weeks after the surgery on that left thumb, and you still see, as Heather said, still taped. Right now he's got it tucked with his arms crossed. He doesn't look like he's in as much pain as he was when he first went out. Kentucky only 1 out of 4 from the free throw line right now as Azubuike steps up and drains it. Galena with 7 points, already a better outing than he had against Georgia in the loss over the weekend. So Trice has 2 fouls. He came in for the most part to take over for Trey Kelly because Dave Odom didn't want Trey to get a tray. And now both the backcourt guys have a foul situation. Tie game at 18.
With less than a minute to TV timeout, this is the most critical possession they have for South Carolina. They've governed the tempo. They've done a good job of shot selection. They've eliminated the errant pass.
Kentucky's taken the home crowd out of it a little bit now by regaining the lead by 1. And then the miss cleared off by Morris out to Rondo. Rondo, great pass, Azubuike. That one had a little bit too much Zuzu on it, and they lose it out of bounds. Kentucky turns it over. Coming up tomorrow night, it's Turn Back the Clock night with ESPN. Number 4 North Carolina looking to sweep the regular season from the Virginia Cavaliers. That's ACC Wednesday presented by Staples. Then at 9, NBA Wednesday. Jason Richardson leads Golden State against the Seattle Supersonics and Ray Allen. That's all coming up tomorrow night on ESPN. And there's the matchup, Seattle and Golden State at 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Meanwhile, Tubby Smith saying what foul as it was called on Randolph Morris, a 6'10 freshman out of Atlanta, who's doubling up down on the low block defensively and picks up his first foul.
Tisby took that bad shot earlier. They were fortunate. That led to nothing to lead to the fast break quicker than a bad shot.
Nice.
The wrong player took it from the wrong spot.
Nice extra pass down low, but again, Kentucky does a good job double teaming. Now the outside jumper is in and out, and Hayes with a rebound.
And that is South Carolina's vulnerability. They're outside shooting. They really don't have a go-to guy on the perimeter with any consistency, with the exception of perhaps Powell.
South Carolina not shooting anywhere near what they shot the first time they played Kentucky. They shot 58% from the floor in the first half, including 50% from three-point land. And right now, they're 8 out of 25. Sparks gave up a 3 and threw it away. On the break, ball way up in the air and loose. And then Gunner wanted to take a shot, and he lost it out of bounds. A little bit sloppy right now, with 3:31 remaining in the first half. It's Kentucky leading by 1.
Everyone wants it, basketball's got it. ESPN College Game Day, Saturdays at 11. Fueled by Mountain Dew.
On
I want to do is race.
You ain't the guy with the fastest car, just the one who refuses to lose.
ESPN presents 3, with over 5 hours of Dale Earnhardt interviews and races.
Go, boy, go!
Own the 2-disc collector's edition today.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Introducing the most powerful Volvo ever. The Volvo XC90 V8. The only V8 with the added power of legendary Volvo safety. How powerful is it?
Powerful enough to get you into space.
Win a flight on Virgin Galactic. Enter at boldlygo.com.
There are riding mowers, and then there's the Edge cutting system. Only John Deere gives you the edge. With dependability beneath you and your John Deere dealer behind you, you'll always have a John Deere yard to look forward to. Own a John Deere now starting at $14.99. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Extra long cheese coney and tots, $2.99. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, I'll get that too. Then I'll pick it up.
Oh, really?
This bugger right here should do the trick.
This is a penny, TJ.
It's a 1943 Denver minted buckwheat steel penny is what it is, valued at $8.60. We should be getting some change back from that.
Coney and Tots. Sonic's got it, others don't. Try an extra long cheese Coney with a large order of Tots, now for just $2.99. It's not just good, it's Sonic good.
John Son is back in the studio. It's now a final. UConn pulls it out in double overtime, 94-89 over Providence. Coming up on the UPS Halftime Report, we'll talk about the National Hockey League lockout, plus good news for Mississippi State. Brad and Rick, back to you.
I assume that's going to have something to do with Winston Frazier, John, but we'll wait until halftime to talk to you. That's who Kentucky has this weekend at home. Right now, they got their hands full on Super Tuesday presented by Toyota because they're on the road against a determined South Carolina team. Kentucky does lead by 1. Kentucky looking for its 11th win without a loss in SEC play and another 20-win season. And if you think about them being number 3 in the country, they're not playing like it right now, although South Carolina's got something to do with that. And you couple that with Kansas having lost yesterday. If Kentucky wins this game and beats Mississippi State at Rupp Arena on Saturday night on our Saturday primetime, they're probably going to go into Monday as the number 2 team in the country. And yet they don't have a star and they don't have a guy that consistently scores. They're just a team that works hard.
No, they don't. But you said it earlier, South Carolina's had a lot to do with this. They're changing defenses. The only thing South Carolina is doing a poor job of right now is taking care of the ball. They've had 14 turnovers, and 6 of those have been errors of omission, where they've just kicked that ball around.
That's their first field goal in over 4 minutes. They've been 0 for 7. And Tisby has come off the bench with 6 points, gives them the lead back with 2:40 to go in the half.
Look at Hayes, a reluctant shooter there. If he had that 15, 16-foot shot, he'd be an All-American. He may be already with his attitude and effort.
I heard you say that on ESPN News before the ballgame, and you're right. If he had a big-time shot, he'd be scary because he's got everything else working. Sparks, 5 on the shot clock, and he got mugged. And they're going to call it, I believe, on Tisby. Let's check in with Heather.
A report from both huddles. Kentucky first. They are looking for better production on the offensive glass. They'd also like to see more action in the paint, specifically to Kalena Azubuike. He's 3 for 3 from the field, guys. Most efficient shooter out there. They want him to have more touches. Now for South Carolina, offensively, they said we've got to relax, take better shots, just 32% from the field. Defensively, they've got to find Kentucky shooters, especially Sparks, the guy at the line, during transition, guys.
And Sparks uncharacteristically misses a free throw as well. Kentucky, one of their problems has been South Carolina's defense has pushed them and the shot clock down to where they have taken some bad shots. The last one by Sparks was terrible too, but he was fouled at least to get 1 out of 2 from the free throw line. And we're tied at 20. As we approach the 2-minute mark, even ball game here in the SEC East. For the lead and 3, and the rebound off the mark, and Bradley clears it. He's looking to run. Lost the handle. Out of control. Kentucky turns it over. Now on the other end. Wallace for the slam. Oh, if looks could kill from Tubby Smith, his whole squad would be dead right now. Azubuike gives him the lead back with a 3.
They didn't have to look for him. He just said, I'm going to take it. He took that in rhythm.
Oh, that quieted the crowd just when Wallace had lit him up here at the Colonial Center in Columbia.
South Carolina's playing inside out well off that short corner. The vulnerability of that zone, though, is a high post. Nice pass.
Nice pass, but they didn't finish on the backdoor cut. Tisby went up to slam it, got the rim, but not the basket.
Now South Carolina goes back man.
Hayes will try to drive, and he lost the handle. And trying to save it, turns it over again. Kentucky, 10 turnovers, and that's something that normally they've done very well. This time they turned it over. That was 2 trips ago, and it turned into Brandon Wallace hammering it home. And Dave Odom's going to take 22nd timeout here with a minute remaining, and his team trailing by 1. Coming up Thursday night, ESPN and ESPN2 have a college basketball doubleheader for you. First and 7, Francisco Garcia, 12th-ranked Louisville, will take on the Golden Eagles of Marquette. That game also available on ESPN HD. And on ESPN2 at 9, J.J. Redick and 8th-ranked Duke will take on the Hokies of Virginia Tech. That is Throwdown Thursday on ESPN and ESPN2. Take a look at the conference standings in the ACC. Wake Forest 10-2, leading North Carolina and Duke. Maryland and Miami both at 6-5. Miami gave Wake all they wanted tonight. Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech. There's the surprising ones right there. Georgia Tech, a team that was in the Final Four, made it to the national championship game. They might not make the tournament if they don't get it together.
No, they're coming perilously close to what Minnesota and Marquette have experienced. Those are 2 teams that did not make the NCAA tournament after making the Final Four. Yeah. But my bet is when Elder comes back, they will. I love Jared Jack, and I love their emphasis on defense. They got a nice team there. They miss Jack to spread out the floor. And Bynum now is playing much more unselfishly.
I think the problem is deeper than B.J. Elder. He's back now, and he played all right the other night, but something else is happening. I don't know. The chemistry's not what it once was, at least not last year. Azubuike picks up the foul.
Well, a good sign the other night is Bynum only took 6 shots. You know, you don't need your point guard with that kind of scoring power around you looking to take so many shots. Elder is back, but he's not back to where he's B.J. Elder. Just like when Winston Frazier comes back, there's back to who you are and being physically on the floor are 2 different backs. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly. John's going to talk about that with Jay Billis at halftime, our UPS halftime report, and I assume that Winston Frazier is going to be the conversation for Mississippi State, who meets Kentucky on our primetime Saturday night game from Rupp Arena in Lexington. Hope you join us for that one. We're down to the last 25 seconds of the half here, and now at 10 on the shot clock.
There's a big possession right here. Nothing would be more demoralizing than a turnover that leads to a score.
Oh, yeah, that'll work. Kinsey, a 3 over Hayes. Big shot.
Now they got to D him up. Wallace should on support help right here.
Finals 8 seconds. Bradley on the dribble, gets bumped, tries to feed it inside, and throws it away. Kentucky another turnover. Carolina won't get another shot away, but they'll take the halftime lead, and a lead on the 3rd-ranked team in the country, that's for sure. Well, they led by halftime the last time they played them at Rupp. Now they've got a 2-point lead in a low-scoring affair here in Columbia. South Carolina leads the Kentucky Wildcats 25-23 at the break, and Heather Cox is with the leading coach, Dave Odom. Heather.
Coach, earlier in the season in Lexington, you also had the lead at half. How do you change things here at home and come away with the win?
Well, you know, Kentucky certainly is tough and rough. I think they're even better on the road, so we can expect an onslaught by them in the second half. We got to go in and tighten our belts a little bit. We didn't play very well in the last 5 minutes. We got to play better.
Right, Coach, thanks for your time. Best of luck.
Little bit of a surprise, but not surprising. South Carolina's 11-2 at home this year. So on this Super Tuesday, they had a pretty good first half. They lead Kentucky by 2. John and Jay.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Beck's Beer, who reminds you that life beckons and you're holding the key. And GMC Trucks and SUVs. We are professional grade.
Colonial Center, they're enjoying what they've seen so far. Super Tuesday presented by Toyota. Halftime, South Carolina leads 25-23. Brad Nessler, Rick Majerus back with you. They're 11-3 this year when they're up at halftime. A lot of defense in this one. Kentucky normally known for its defense, but I think it's been the Gamecocks. Its defense has done the better job tonight, Rick.
Well, they've fronted the post in the half court. They've done a great job of recovering to the ball in transition. Watch here. You'll see that they front the post on this and they front the cutter. They're making everything go to the post through a lob. Chappell does a good job of leveling off that drive. How about this play here by Faulkner against Rajon Rondo, a warp speed player. Watch him catch up right here as well.
That's one of the 11 Kentucky turnovers that led to an easy transition bucket. Neither team shooting well, but credit the defense. 20% for Kentucky, 37% for South Carolina. And I mentioned the first meeting back January 5th, South Carolina shot 58% from the floor in the first half and 50% from three-point land. Neither team shooting anywhere near that right now. South Carolina's got the advantage with points in the paint, and they had the rebounding edge 17 to 15. So we're set to go. Can Kentucky get their 20th victory? Kentucky, only one team has shot 50% in the last 53 outings, and that was South Carolina. And South Carolina's going to have to really rip it up to get to 50% tonight. But they don't care about that. They only care about trying to get the upset. Instead, they get a backdoor lob as Rondo from Azubuike puts Kentucky into a tie at 25.
Good call by Tubby coming out of that. Takes their man-to-man pressure. South Carolina's junked the game up with a zone press, zone and man in the half court, and kept Kentucky off balance.
Here's Bachman. Chappell going to have to give it up, bring it back out on top, under 10 on the shot clock. Kinsey hit the last shot of the half for South Carolina on the first shot of the second half. Both three-pointers.
He's using his length to go over Sparks. And Sparks has got to do a better job when he's mismatched out there digging with his hand.
And now the foul's going to be on Morris. Let's check in with Heather.
Well, Kentucky's always been known as a great second-half team. In fact, down by 16 against Louisville and Ole Miss, came back to win those. Why? Because Tubby Smith, known as one of the best in-game coaches in the country. So what adjustments did he make during the half tonight? Well, he said we've got to be a little bit more aggressive. We've been bothered by the pressure underneath the basket. We've got to use more head fakes, get around that physical pressure, and finish under the basket. The other thing he said, we've got to take away Carolina's inside game. So, Coach Majerus, it looks like everything down low is key tonight.
They didn't take away the inside game right there.
That was a wonderful sequence. Late in the clock, third side of the floor.
A 5-point lead for South Carolina.
South Carolina is electric on defense, and along with their great passion, the changing of the defenses has caused havoc with Kentucky's rhythm.
A long way to go in this one, but this would be huge for South Carolina if they could hang on. They've got 18 and a half minutes to try to hang on, but they lead by 5. And a whistle and a bump foul on John Chappell. Chappell picks up his second. Kentucky's won 19 straight. The last time they lost was a year ago against Georgia.
Chappell's got to save those fouls for inside. He doesn't want to get caught for that ticky-tack outside foul showing on a screen. He wants to bop Morris in that paint.
Hayes leaves it off for Morris, and there's a foul inside on Chappell as Morris went to the rack. He prevented him from scoring, but now Chappell's got 3 fouls, and Morris will go to the free throw line where he is not exactly a master. Randolph Morris, a freshman, at the free throw line, 59% free throw shooter this year.
He makes a classic mistake of a big man. Watch him pull his shoulders back.
And he drops it down just when we start bad-mouthing his free throw shooting.
You'll see again, all good foul shooters come up on their heels. Their weight falls forward. They stay with it, whether it's a big guy, small guy, Reggie Miller, Price, those great foul shooters. You see him back out of that shot and pull his shoulder blades back.
He does get 1 or 2, cuts the lead to 4. Now it's backcourt pressure time. Going to call a foul on Kentucky. And it's going to be on Chuck Hayes, and Chuck thought he got all ball, and so did Tubby Smith, but Hayes picks up his first foul in the backcourt on the full court press.
Kentucky's trying to get this game into the 60s or 70s. That's why they're pressing.
Come up with the same situation, the double team on Kinsey. He got this one out of there, though, to Trey Kelly. Kelly, the wraparound, nice pass. Powell came up short with it twice, but the second time he'll go to the free throw line.
Kelly gives you that Washington, D.C. shake there and draw and kick. He's clearly an Eastern guard. He can't wait to get pressed. Watch him push it right here in the open court, change hands.
What a wraparound around the biggest guy on the floor for Kentucky.
And why that big boy doesn't flush that down or use the glass is beyond me. Those guys go with that soft finger roll.
Another look at the wraparound Morris. That's wrapping around about 270 pounds, and Powell goes to the free throw line. The foul is on Hayes, by the way, so Chuck picks up 2 fouls in a hurry. Second free throw off the mark.
Paul's a warrior. He should look to flush that down or at least use glass.
Nice job defensively from Powell behind Morris, and Kentucky turns it over. That's their 12th turnover. Rondo kind of trying to come up with a steal, and again he almost takes our table over. Only it's to our friends to the left of us down here. Rajon spent more time on our table than he spent on the Kentucky bench tonight.
Rondo and Brewer at Arkansas are a human highlight film to the steal. Both are in this league. That Brewer's a great steal guy too. A guy who's not a great athlete but a great steal guy is Marty Collins at Temple. He does it with his eyes and his anticipation. Rondo does it more with his athletic ability.
Boy, Bachman picks up a very cheap foul on the rebound, and that's his first.
Bachman's got to show some mental toughness here and not let that hand bother him. When he almost had that turnover before, it was his right hand. He's got to get that thumb out of his head.
Hit back on his wrist.
Right, yeah.
Kentucky turns it over. Again. Rondo this time palms it, and that's 14 Kentucky turnovers, so they've already got more than they had all last weekend against Georgia. We still have 17 and a half minutes to go. 31-26, South Carolina. They've led most of the game. Kentucky's biggest lead was 9-6 in the first half. South Carolina's biggest lead was 6, 18-12 in the first half, and here they are up by 5 right now with 17-20 remaining in the ballgame. Kinsey trying to shake a little bit, and he turns it over. Same call the other way.
Even them out on that one. That'd be like the double foul call. The interesting thing here is you've always got to go to Morris's man or Sparks' man for a pressure release because Hayes, Azubuike, and Rondo are such great overplay and deny guys. And South Carolina's had the presence on offense to do that very well tonight. Back into the 2-3 zone, and good ball pressure within the zone.
Cross court pass, trying to get it to Sparks for 3. He does get it away, but it's way off the mark. He had to hurry it after trying to get the ball fake around Kinsey to get him in the air. It'll still be Kentucky ball, though, and that one never hit the rim, so the shot clock does not reset. It's at 16. Tubby's trying to make sure his Cats know that as they inbound. Chuck Hayes had it swiped away by Trey Kelly. And now Kelly, the recipient, had it blocked by Rondo. And here's Morris if he can catch it. He got there and he had it blocked. Fired by Tisby. What an effort. 3 block shots in a row. And now the official is going to try to straighten out whose ball is it going to be.
Tell you, you're seeing some kind of athletes here. Take a look at this block here by Rondo. He comes right back, wham! And that's a clinic block where you come with your inside hand off the butt. Then look at this effort here by Tisby. Their backflow to the ball is simply incredible. A great trade of those old Rick Pitino Kentucky teams to recover to the line of the ball.
Well, the last minute or so, a block party broke out. Still 31-26, South Carolina. Nothing's changed. Looked like it was going to a couple of times.
Tubby's beside himself on that bench there.
Kentucky leads the conference in block shots. They had 5 in the first half. They've got 7 now.
Yeah, my guess too is it's a stat not kept, but they'd also lead them in taking charges. Tubby's teams always play terrific defense and attack penetration, not only with the block shot, but also with the body.
Joe Boudreau talking things over with Dave Odom now after a conference with the other officials, and it will be South Carolina ball right in front of their own bench. Kinsey's hit some big shots tonight, 3 threes as a matter of fact. South Carolina gives it right back to Kentucky. Sparks on the break, another block shot, this one by Trey Kelly, and out of bounds to the Gamecocks.
These kids are playing their heart out. What an effort to recover to that ball. This guy's not a shot blocker, but I'll tell you what, just the competitive spirit the game allows him to elevate his leaping ability right there.
He may never get another shot to go in if they keep playing defense like this. Wow.
It's not your classic move your feet and keep the ball in front of your defense, but I'll tell you what, you talk about playing with your heart and recovering from competitive spirit, this game has been about that. Third side, late in the clock, moving the ball. I love the tempo.
Kinsey kicks out to Bachman. Bachman to Kelly, and they work it back around. There's the three. Kinsey got another one. That's 4 triples. And the lead goes to 8. Boy, they got him rocking now at Colonial Center.
Cubby's on the verge of getting a technical here.
And he's right about ready
to get one.
Didn't get one, but got very close. 15:41 to go. South Carolina has upped its lead to 34-26.
If you're waiting for the weekend, you A, are thoughtful and well organized, B, have an excellent reason to live past Thursday, C, are missing out on 5/7 of your life. Life beckons, and you're holding the key.
I have plenty of other investors I can
slip between the sheets this evening or before the market opens in Tokyo.
What makes you think I'd ask one more time?
What was your name again?
When 5 cheerleaders witnessed a murder, he moved in to protect them.
Nobody may leave the house without an escort. Any questions?
Are you always so uptight?
Yes.
But now he'll have to get in touch.
Someone has to go shopping.
With his feminine side.
I need the slim fit one with wings.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Where's your happy face?
This is my happy face.
Man of the house. And Cedric the Entertainer.
He who is without sin cast the first stone. Ah! It slipped.
PG-13 in theaters February 25th.
Mr. Rodriguez, big game tonight, huh?
New York, pressure, no sweat.
Speed Stick 24/7 has sweat and odor fighters for maximum protection 24/7.
So, Alex, just one home run tonight?
Tough town.
Speed Stick 24/7, maximum protection 24/7 by men.
There it is. There what is? The Harley I almost bought.
I love that color. Is that
black?
Black.
It's black. That almost looks great. I can almost hear that big V twin.
Almost won't get you there.
You've got friends, you've got beer. The trick is, A, never confusing the two. B, having plenty of both. C, always having something to drink to. Life beckons, and you're holding the key.
15:41 remaining on Super Tuesday from Columbia. Right now, the Gamecocks with a lead by 8, courtesy of this last basket, Rick.
Take a look at this. Here, Kinsey drives, and when he begins his drive, he's caught the ball on the second side of the floor, third side of the floor, over to Kelly, fourth side of the floor. They collapse the defense. Great floor spacing, nice draw and click. Kick. They're conducting an offensive clinic right there. It's just terrific.
14 points for Kinsey. 4 of his 5 field goals have been 3-pointers, so he has been the scoring machine. He only averages 9.5 points a game, so he's had a sensational offensive outing for him, and the fans are feeling it. Our first visit on Super Tuesday to the new Colonial Center, opened 3 years ago. ESPN's first visit here for the men's game, and they're 11-2 at home this year. This would make them 12-2. This would be huge. Long ways to go, and Heather mentioned earlier, Kentucky's been in a spot like this a couple of times this year. Down to Louisville, down to Ole Miss, battled their way back, but boy, they dug themselves a hole here in Columbia, South Carolina tonight.
The Spartans are one-man wrecking crew on defense.
Azubuike's got to give it up. 8 on the shot clock.
He does a great job of ball pressure.
Chuck Hayes missed on the baseline. Morris trying to save it, and can't. Out of bounds to the Gamecocks. They'll get a quick timeout with 15:18 to go. They lead third-ranked Kentucky by 8.
Tonight on SportsCenter, Vince Carter crashes at KG's house. Who the world champs will miss most and why winning is now hurting Dale Jr. Plus, Westminster's top dog. SportsCenter after the game.
ESPN searches for the next NBA analyst. Former NBA players Barrows, Wilkins, Reed, Bullard, Brown, and Dawkins take their shot at the analyst job. The new season of Dream Job, live Sunday, February 27th at 10 on ESPN.
If you're waiting for the weekend, you A, are thoughtful and well organized, B, have an excellent reason to live past Thursday, C, are missing out on 5/7 of your life. Life beckons, and you're holding the key.
There are riding mowers, and then there's the Edge cutting system. Only John Deere gives you the edge. With dependability beneath you and your John Deere dealer behind you, you'll always have a John Deere yard to look forward to. Own a John Deere now starting at $14.99. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Coney and Tots. Sonic's got it, others don't. Satisfy your Sonic cravings with our famous extra long cheese coney, plus a large order of crispy tater tots, made fresh and served up fast, and now only $2.99. It's not just good, it's Sonic good.
There are millions surfing the web with Net Zero for less than $10 a month. Are you one of them? If not, then it's time to switch to the internet service that ranks higher than AOL in customer satisfaction. Join the millions. Switch to Net Zero. Go to netzero.com.
You've got friends, you've got beer. The trick is, A, never confusing the two, B, having plenty of both, C, always having something to drink to. Life beckons, and you're holding the key.
34-26, South Carolina leading Kentucky, 15-18 remaining in the ballgame, and Carolina continues to play great defense.
Watch his zone defense here and watch Buckman. You're going to see him close out on the ball right here. Active hands, high hands, ball pressure within the zone. They contest that flash coming across the middle and body that up. Now they match up man-to-man here, man-to-man here, and Kentucky does a great thing right here. They come for that short corner J. That was a clinic both ways by both coaches. But I'll tell you what, South Carolina's getting hands up and ball pressure within the zone, and they're getting man-to-man coverage. There's 5 of them, 5 of us. As John Chaney, the best zone coach in America, says, match up. 5 of them, 5 of us.
Bradley and Moss in the backcourt now, along with Rondo. So a 3-guard offense out there for Tubby Smith. They put a little bit of backcourt pressure on South Carolina. No problem for the Gamecocks. Now the frontcourt defense, a little bit of a problem. Hayes all over his man, but he gave it up, and Tinsby didn't. Tinsby's got 8, and the lead is 10.
There's no Kentucky fast break tonight. They come out of there with that lob play again, and South Carolina doesn't get burned on it this time.
South Carolina has a 22-10 advantage of points in the paint tonight. Moss got an open 3 and knocked it home.
Heather talked about looking to get Azubuike involved. Nice draw and kick by him.
First field goal in almost 5.5 minutes for Kentucky. They have not gotten a 3 since early in the ballgame from Sparks. Here's another 3 down the other way, and it's Kinsey, and he's got 5 of them.
Kentucky got caught in the 1-3-1 and didn't get out to the corner.
6 minutes into the second half, 10-point game. That's not Chuck Hayes' best shot of the night, and now a whistle and a foul is going to be on Moss. Kentucky in trouble, down 10. Here's Kinsey, the hot man tonight.
And he gets that shot against the 1-3-1 zone. Kentucky came out. I like their call. It was an astute move by Tubby. But I'll tell you what, South Carolina, it's all about their poise and composure this evening.
Bachman there talking with Rick Duckett, one of the assistant coaches. Dave Odom's team on the verge of a big-time upset if they can hold on the next 13.5 minutes. Here's the guy that's been the key off the bench. Tisby had it swiped away. Bachman gets it right back from Bradley. He'll try another 3. But the final is good by Tisby. It's a 12-point Carolina advantage. Moss for 3. three. Way off, but he's fouled by Bachman. It's going to be 3 free throws.
That was a disastrous foul right there. There's no way Bachman should have done that. How about this follow-up here by Tisby? He has come into the paint and established a dominance to both boards and is all over the floor without a body on him.
Tisby averaging only 4.2 points a game, and he's had a huge game off the bench for South Carolina. At the free throw line now is Moss, a 73% free throw shooter. He missed his first 2 in the first half. Knocks this one down, and 2 more to come.
South Carolina making the extra pass, something that they did not do against Auburn, and also taking very good care of the ball. Here you're going to see Bachman foul this 3-point shot. There's no need for that. He gets his hand in there. You know, he's 6'7". He's going against a guy 6'2", and his reach makes him about 6'11". He did his job to get a hand up on a shooter.
And Moss did his job from the free throw line. Knocks down all 3 and gets it back to single digits. 13:09 to go. Kentucky trailing South Carolina. A key matchup, especially for South Carolina here in the SEC East. An opportunity to go to 14-8, 6-5 in the conference. And can they be the first team to hand Kentucky an SEC loss? Nobody has so far. Perfect 10 for the Cats coming into tonight's action. Low block, Powell on the turn. He's averaging 13 points a game and has only 3 tonight, but South Carolina's going back to the free throw line.
How about 3 or 4 guys getting a hand on this offensive board?
Big crowd on Super Tuesday, presented by Toyota at Colonial Center, where South Carolina has won 11 and lost only 2 this year. And the biggest feather in their cap would be this one if they could beat the 3rd-ranked team in the country, the Kentucky Wildcats, who have been behind a good majority of this ball game. And South Carolina starters have played well. Their defense has played well. They're getting more points in the paint than Kentucky is. And that guy has been a monster on defense, whereas Terrence Kinsey has been the big guy on offense with 5 3-pointers. Trice, his first 2 points of the ball game, back to an 11-point advantage. Moss pushes it in a hurry, and Kentucky's going to go back to the free throw line. Joe Crawford will step up.
At this point in the game, South Carolina has governed every aspect of play, especially so the rebounding and not taking bad shots. Right now, these last 2 possessions, that arrow's turning in Kentucky's favor.
Yep. Here's Joe Crawford, the highly touted freshman out of Detroit. McDonald's All-American, missing the free throw.
One of 3 freshman All-Americans.
Chuck Hayes has got the face mask off for now, giving his face a little bit of a rest. He'll be back in shortly. Crawford got 1 of 2.
You talked about it earlier, Brad. That was an uncharacteristic bad shot by Hayes. I think he's just venting his frustration somewhat with his teammates and their energy and enthusiasm.
Down still by 10. Moss, nice hustle to come up with the loose ball. Sparks the extra pass underneath. Azubuike missed it close. Second chance, he'll go to the free throw line. The foul will be on Wallace. That'll be his second.
The momentum has shifted to Kentucky here in these last 3 possessions. Look at Azubuike stay with this, continue to fight.
Kalita, all of 11 of his points came in the first half. The first game between these 2 teams, he had 2 steals and 21 points. The leading scorer for Kentucky in their win 79-75 back at Rupp the first week of January. There's his numbers tonight. 4 boards to go with 11 points. Scoreless so far in the second half. Kentucky, one of their problems this year has been their free throw shooting. Tonight they're 9 out of 15 as a team. And 66% for Tubby Smith as a club this year. So Azubuike, and that's what I'm talking about. Let's check in with Heather Cox.
Brad, you often see the most focused performance from athletes under duress, either physical or mental. Time and again, athletes like Brett Favre or Michael Jordan, we're seeing it tonight with Kelenna Azubuike. After the news we told you about earlier, he received today that his father was sentenced to 4 years incarceration. We've seen focus and intensity and determination, able to shut out all those distractions, nearly perfect from the field. And he did say upon hearing the news today, he actually felt relief that it was only 4 years. And while the team's down, his individual performance certainly something to marvel at tonight.
Yeah, he's playing hard. Missed his free throws, though, and kept it a 10-point lead for South Carolina.
His father certainly raised a wonderful son, though, and there's no more important job than being a parent.
Howell missed badly. Sparks pulls it off the backside. Feeds Moss. Three-point attempt is off the mark. And now Nick Crawford's going to get the push on the foul. Neither team able to find the basket right now, but South Carolina finds the lead by 10.
Tonight on SportsCenter, Vince Carter crashes at KG's house, who the world champs will miss most, and why winning is now hurting Dale Jr. Plus, Westminster's top dog. SportsCenter after the game.
Everyone wants it. Basketball's got it. ESPN College Game Day, Saturdays at 11. Fueled by Mountain Dew.
What will you do now that the Toyota Tundra has more power?
I'm going to get a bigger trailer. Build a new addition. I'm going to buy me a boat.
With an enhanced 282 horsepower iForce V8, you can do more. Tundra Double Cab. Now that's moving you forward.
Here's a CNBC personal finance tip. Want to pump up your credit rating? Here's how. First, pay bills on time. It actually makes up 35% of your score. Second, pay down credit card debt. 3, if you need help, get consumer credit counseling and avoid bankruptcy. It can take forever to recover good credit. Watch CNBC weekdays.
This CNBC personal finance tip has been brought to you by Gene Reed Toyota on the corner of Rivers Avenue and Ashley Phosphate.
If you have big home improvement ideas, but a small budget, there's only one place to shop. Moe's Discount Lumber and Salvage. Shop the huge warehouse where you'll find doors, windows, cabinets, ceramic tile, laminate flooring, lumber, lots of lumber, and more. It's all in stock at an incredibly low prices. So if you're remodeling a kitchen or bathroom or adding an entire room to your home, get everything you need for less, much less. It's all at Moe's Discount Lumber and Salvage, 1630 North Main Street in Somerville.
High flying and a little bit of high flying right there. Tubby Smith did not get a technical. Our ESPN game track brought to you by Domino's. Kentucky only averages about 13 turnovers a game. They turn it over 15 times tonight. Azubuike leads away with 11. South Carolina, much like they did in the first game against Kentucky when they shot over 50% in the first half, they've shot 50 here in the second, and it's been Terrence Kinsey who's been the big guy. 5 out of 7 from three-point range, helping his team to a 10-point lead with 11:48 remaining in the ballgame.
And what South Carolina has done with the fronted post, the changing defenses, is they've got Kentucky to forget about looking inside. With weapons like Morris and Hayes inside, they're forgetting about it, and that's because of South Carolina's defensive. They've bastardized the game with their and jumped it up defensively.
South Carolina, Trice on the dribble, gives it up. Gunner, the extra pass inside. Didn't get it to drop, though. Got a good look inside to Tisby, who's been big off their bench tonight. Sparks has been quiet tonight. Only 1 3-pointer, 6 points is all for him on the evening. He gets it back, and he'll take a 3 here. Morris, good offensive rebound. And got it on the putback inside. 5 points for the freshman. Almost the midway point of the second half, and Morris, nice overplay there. Except he got away with a push. He's lucky.
He pushed Tisby right there. He got excited because he scored. They had forgotten about it. He said, I'll go get one off the glass.
Tisby almost became part of the possession arrow right here.
He's using that little shove it. It's like you're taken out by a possession arrow.
Have that blinking inside your ear. Morris picking up the defensive effort. 10 on the shot clock now. Kelly. He's bumped by Carey. Second header.
Guys, Kentucky shooting just 22% from the field here in the second half, so it's no surprise during that last timeout. Tubby Smith was all about offense. He said we've got to do a better job reading screens to get more efficient shots, and then we've got to rebound to allow easy buckets in transition. Overall, not happy with the intensity or the execution, especially offensively, guys.
Take away Azubuike, and there's really not a scorer out on the floor, at least a big-time scorer. Well, that's just one of the problems they have. They're deep, they hustle, they play great defense. But, Rick, they don't have a guy where you just say, okay, he's going to go out and he's automatically going to get you 15, but he might get you 30. They don't have one of those guys.
No, they've got to get Hayes the ball on the block, and it's hard to go to inside when you are getting zone, when there are changing defenses, when you are fronting the post.
Azubuike. Sparks trying to lob it in. Morris will try that hook shot of his, and he scores with it. A chance for a three-point play.
And you see what happens when you don't front the post with that decided a mismatch. Morris is 6'11", 7 foot. Here he gets caught behind Tisby. He gets a deep catch, takes it to him. He's always a left shoulder turn.
Got a nice little elbow around, too, to give himself even more of an advantage. And let's see if he can cap the three-point play.
Best way to defend the post is to keep the ball out of there by A, pressure on the passers, B, fronting it when you have the decided mismatch, and C, changing defenses to give pause so Kentucky can't get into their rhythm.
I think as the remainder of the SEC season goes on, and then the SEC tournament in Atlanta and the NCAA tournament that'll follow, you'll see number 33 become more and more involved. He's not a freshman anymore. Tubby will tell you that. I don't care how young he is. He's shown signs now against Florida last Tuesday night and again here that if you go to him, he can score. Powell lost it going up, out of bounds to Kentucky. South Carolina turns it over. So here are the Cats trying to claw their way back at the midway point of the second half. And they trail only by 6. They were down 12 just moments ago. Morris making a tough catch, fouled from behind by Chappell, and that's 4 on Chappell.
Now you're going to see the bane of South Carolina, the turnover, but Kentucky gets their hands in. They're all about deflections. If you charted deflections, they lead maybe the country in it. They get a hand in and a hand up as well as anyone.
Morris doesn't get this free throw, though, and a nice rebound by Kinsey.
He continues to back out of that foul shot. He'll never be a good shooter until he falls through and brings his weight forward.
South Carolina will see if they can get some offense going.
What an important possession for them.
This has been the man tonight, Terrence Kinsey, and a whistle and a foul on Sparks. Maybe his second. And Trey Kelly will go back to the free throw line.
The rebounds are all even at 26, and that's been also, Heather talked about that. You can't get that break going unless you get that rebound.
Sparks goes out, Rondo comes back in. And at the free throw line, the sophomore out of Washington, D.C., player Dunbar, Trey Kelly.
Short!
And in and out of the free throws. Both teams are killing themselves at the free throw line right now. Kentucky's only 10 out of 19. And that's part of the reason they trail by 6. Azubuike thinking about a 3, gives it up. Rondo the extra pass. Carrier's going to try a 3. And a whistle and a foul. Going to be on Kinsey. Kansas having lost to Texas Tech last night. I mentioned if Kentucky wins this and beats Mississippi State at home this weekend, they'd probably be the #2 team in the country, even though they lost to 4th-ranked North Carolina earlier this year, their most lopsided loss of the season. So stranger things have happened, though, with polls and rankings. But right now, they don't care about that. They want to get out of Columbia somehow, coming back from behind to win. And if they don't start hitting free throws, they don't have a chance. They miss a free throw, they get it back, and then they turn it right back over. So 16 turnovers and 10 out of 20 from the free throw line for Kentucky. That's not good.
No, it's not. And even of greater impact, should Kentucky lose this, it puts at peril their #1 seed. The difference between a 1 seed and a 2 and 3 seed, especially as that tournament goes on an S-curve, is gigantic, because the 1 seed, of course, plays theoretically the 4 seed in the ultimate round to go to the Final Four.
Kelly. Oh, Morris just swiped it away off his hand and his head. Morris playing inspired basketball here in the second half. Azubuike way off, an air ball for 3, but it's Morris again. Morris, little half hook, and now he's going to be called for a foul trying to get it back. So Morris is doing everything, but he can't get it to drop, and he picks up another foul.
Attack those Giants there. Morris has just got such a big body. Swatting down, he gets a break on not getting a foul called. He did get all ball. It was not a foul. This game has been wonderfully officiated.
Now they walk it down the other way, and the free throws become the Gamecocks. Brandon Wallace, let's see how he'll do. He's not particularly great at the free throw line either, 56% coming into this.
And that interests me because he has a wonderful stroke. As I said earlier, reminding me a little bit of Channing Frye.
Certainly looked like a 56% free throw shooter on that one.
No, he doesn't. He's got a real classic release.
So Wallace with 5. South Carolina 6 out of 10. Wallace is second at 2. Got them both. Perfect. And first points for South Carolina in quite some time. They lead by 8. 8:35 remaining in the ball game. And now everybody up again on the Gamecocks home arena.
And they zone up. Nice ball pressure, high active hands. They're matching up 1-to-1, and Rondo.
Another block shot by Wallace. Out of the pack comes the Gamecocks. The extra pass, and the dish inside is good to Trice. Kentucky might need a timeout here. I know Tubby'd like to wait until after 8 minutes. 10-point ball game. Somebody just threw something on the court, and that's why play was stopped momentarily.
Rondo has that problem against his zone. You know, all he wants to do is bait dribble. He just wants to take 2 dribbles into a gap and look to draw and kick. He looks to try to take it all the way to the rim. We saw him do that against Tennessee earlier off a pass fake. He's so gifted with his dribble and so fast, he's got to learn to govern his speed offensively.
It was Trice that blocked that shot, so you know that everybody's getting in the shot blocking act. Nice feed inside of Morris, and he's fouled by Chappell, and that'll be it for John Chappell. He'll foul out with 7:56 remaining in the ball game. A big lead for South Carolina. They lead third-ranked Kentucky by 10.
What will you do now that the Toyota Tundra has more power?
Buy another snowmobile.
I'm gonna rip out some stumps.
I'm gonna get my tools back from my neighbor.
With an enhanced 282 horsepower iForce V8, you can do more. Tundra Double Cab. Now that's moving you forward.
Hi, I'm Tuesday, most ignored day of the week. Hey kids, you wanna play?
No thanks.
Friday. But now, that's all gonna change. Domino's is making me the most fun day of the week.
Now, Tuesday is special. Domino's is offering 2 pizzas for the price of 1.
I feel like a brand new day.
Get the door. It's Domino's 2 times Tuesday.
It's 2 times Tuesday at Domino's. Buy any large pizza at regular menu price and get a second pizza of equal or lesser value free on Tuesdays. That's 2 pizzas for the price of 1 Tuesdays only at Domino's.
Hey, nice Harley.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Hey, nice Harley.
Hey, nice Harley.
Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Harley. Hey, nice Har
Had to get it, you know? It's great. It's the way I live my life, you know, by my own rules. Well, that's my creed or motto. My credo, you know?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like to live like by the edge of my... Can you believe the crime in this town? It's crazy. It's like broad daylight right in front of us. It's like, hello, it's my bike, miss.
Maybe you should get your own.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Toyota. Choose any direction as long as it's moving forward. And in part by Domino's Pizza. Get the door. It's the 555 deal from Domino's. And the 2006 Harley-Davidson Street Rod. Born on the track, raised on the street.
And a Harley-Davidson kind of nights at Colonial Center. Running and gunning and high flying. ACC Wednesday presented by Staples comes up tomorrow. North Carolina on a turn back the clock night will take on the Virginia Cavaliers. ACC Wednesday presented by Staples. Then we'll turn our sights to the NBA at 9. Jason Richardson leads the Golden State Warriors against Ray Allen and the Seattle Supersonics. That's a ACC NBA doubleheader tomorrow night on ESPN. Brad Nessler, Rick Majerus, Heather Cox with you with 7:56 remaining in the ball game. It's a 10-point lead for South Carolina. Chappell is out. He's fouled out with 4 points, a couple of rebounds, and 7:56 remaining. So that takes away a big body for Dave Oden.
Played a wonderful defensive game, and you're right about that. Harley moving. It sounds like a Harley hog with the pipes off in here. And they've got to, this crowd's got to continue to come in this game because they have been extraordinarily supportive. And you can see right now the South Carolina players soliciting.
He's been the best Kentucky player in the second half. He may or may not hit the free throws, but he has battled the 6'10", 266-pound freshman, part of the Atlanta Celtics, the AAU team that had this guy and Dwight Howard. I'd like to be coaching that team. That wouldn't be too bad.
Especially against 16 and 17-year-olds. This guy's got a body like a 15-year NBA veteran.
Cuts the lead to 8. Here's some full court pressure. Sparks now will just kind of give Goddard something to think about across the timeline. The trap coming. And Azubuike almost came up with a steal. Now the big battle for the loose ball. And it's Kentucky basketball. So they do come up forcing a turnover. Tinsey went down hard. So did Azubuike. Here comes the trap right there.
See, you have no business going way over to that side of the floor, bringing the ball up. And then he turns his back, and that's when you want to trap. And the half-court line and sideline become 6th and 7th defenders on the floor when you get in that area. Every trap in the country is predicated on getting the ball in the corner around the half-court or the baseline area where you have no space to operate, and the sideline and end line serve as trappers as well.
And now Kentucky, after they wipe up the floor after both those guys hit the deck. Last touch by Tinsey. Azubuike still the leading scorer, and he's got 2 assists as well. Morris has done the work on the boards. Azubuike will inbound, fresh shot clock, 35 seconds. He's out there with Sparks and Hayes. Moss, who's had a pretty good second half offensively, and Morris, the big guy, the freshman, who's been most of the Kentucky offense and defense here in the second half. All right, floor's clean. Here we go.
That trap was a great call by Tubby coming out of the timeout. I'm always wondering who's going to win the timeout game. Now they're trying to get back to front of the post. Tisby does a good job on Morris here.
Nice extra pass. Azubuike off the feed from Moss. And now a chance for a three-point play.
That's what happens when you don't have pressure on a passer. Take a look at this. Ball's reversed. They're trying to front the post. They get caught going over the top. And Kentucky did a nice job there on the fronted post of bringing along another offensive player underneath the rim to distort the help.
Wallace tries to come over to help, but Azubuike slams home his first field goal of the second half. 13 points for Kalinin. A 5 out of 7 night. Free throw again. Only 12 out of 22 for Kentucky. Not to keep harping on it. Azubuike knocks it down after he had missed his last 2. And the lead has been cut from 12 earlier in this half down to 5. Under 7.5 minutes to go in the ball game in regulation from Columbia.
Good job. That's where you want to beat all those traps. Get that ball right in the middle, and then you've got all kinds of options available to you.
Tipping out the glass. Wow, tough shot.
Absolutely.
12 for Tisby. It's Kinsey and Tisby for South Carolina, and now Powell with a steal. Another Kentucky turnover. He almost pulled it.
Ed Morris inside. Oh, my gosh.
Kelly gives it up. Tried a no-look pass, and he threw it to the wrong jersey. And now on the other end, Sparks with a lob inside to Moss. And up and down the court we go. Still a 5-point game. Now we're under 7 minutes.
You can see a little fatigue setting in for South Carolina. Not quite as deep a bench. Dave Odom's done a good job with it, but Kentucky always utilizes 10 guys.
Kinsey has been asking for the ball the last couple of times down court. He's got it now, but he'll have to give it back up. Here he's got it for three. Way short. Looks up, maybe a little bit tired. That's where that shot looked, but nice hustle. Saving it was Trice as he knocked it off a Kentucky player on the baseline.
Watch this nice shot. Gets his head up nice, keeps low. He plays small to big and gets the ball up high on the glass. That's where you want to put it, where those two white lines meet, because then the backboard becomes your friend.
Fresh shot clock for South Carolina. They saved it on the baseline. Now they pack it inside, and Powell is fouled. Looks like it's going to be on Morris. So there are a couple of Kentucky players there, and it won't be Morris.
Well, you know, before Brad, you brought up how he was fatigued on that shot, Kinsey, but he was also out of range, and he also shot it quick. So when those three factors come into play, you can see that the ball very barely touched the rim.
Carlos Powell, number 9 scorer in the conference, number 9 rebounder in the conference, a non-factor tonight as far as his offense. As you can see his numbers normally. And he has missed his last 2 free throw attempts. Kinsey is going to go out, and Bachman comes back in.
He's pressing offensively, but I give him a lot of credit. He's done a nice job on the defensive end of the floor, and he's rebounded well.
Powell missed them both. Morris with the rebound. So Kentucky had a hard time shooting free throws. Now they give up a possession to Kentucky. Does South Carolina, and Kentucky's going to get a fresh shot clock off the offensive rebound. We're under 6 minutes. Still a 5-point game. And a steal. Sparks had it swiped, and then he fouls.
Not only does he foul, he gets called for intentional. They're going to shoot it and then get the ball. Free throws. That was a foolish play by Sparks. He got caught up in the emotion of the moment. Take a look at this right here. Active hands. Beautiful steal by a big guy. Grabs his jersey.
I'm not sure they called an intentional foul, Rick. Dave Odom is still asking for clarification, and I don't think they've ever given him that, so I assume that means they didn't give him one. That official didn't make the sign. He just made the foul call, and so Powell goes to the line.
I thought he was fine.
Powell is having a terrible time. He's missed 4 straight free throws, 1 out of 5 from the stripe tonight.
He's engaged in the theatrics of playing the game backwards. By that I mean he's working so hard and measuring his shot here, worried about his pass misses. Just relax, son, and shoot it. There you go.
There he goes. So he got 1 of 2. 6-point lead, under 6 to go. Azubuike got a look at a 3. He's short. Battle for the rebound, won by the Gamecocks. They've got numbers, 3 on 2. Trey Kelly inside, score.
What a move.
(53-45) South Carolina.
Cubby calls the one-up play, which is a double weave handoff here. Watch for Sparks to come out the single-double. Here he comes out the single side. Back to fronting the post. Great job by South Carolina defensively.
Morris had it knocked away from behind. Kentucky's turned it over again.
Ball pressure on the pass to the fronted post. The help side's there, and they denied ball reversal. That was a clinic on the collective thinking defensively of maybe the most important team maneuver in the game.
When's the last time you saw a Kentucky team turn it over 19 times? Moss ties it up, and it's going to stay with South Carolina.
Watch Kelly's body control here. You're going to put that down and watch him play with his head up irrespective of any kind of contact you might incur, or we're not worried about the block shot. He's a tough kid from the D.C. area. You can tell this guy's got a lot of nice playground in this game.
Bobby Perry's going to come in. Randolph Morris deserves a rest, needs a rest right now. He's lugging that big body around, and they're going to need him before this one's over. I can't either. Powell scores, and he's fouled by Hayes. That's 3 on Chuck Hayes.
Look at this. Strength, toughness, up and under move, head up, through the contact. He took that in like the warrior is and the senior that he is.
In his 121st career game, and now he's got a three-point play, and the lead goes back to 11. Kentucky in a heap of trouble. Sparks will try to quiet the crowd. Way off the mark on his three. Out of bounds, Gamecocks.
Quick trigger out of his range. Tubby's going to take him out. He's going to pull Sparks right here. That was a bad shot. He's lucky that they didn't get the rebound. Quick, looked a little bit selfish, ill-advised. If Kentucky is anything, their program is characterized by selfishness and team play.
Here's Moss bringing some full court pressure on Trice. Trice running things at the point. Trey Kelly running the baseline right now.
Kentucky's in a zone.
Bachman inside the pass. All of a sudden, Carlos Powell has come to life. The lead is 13, the biggest of the night.
It's the year of the rooster. It is in Chinese war and Chinese history. And I'll tell you what, the Gamecocks, what an effort.
It might be the night of the rooster, that's for sure.
In 1876, my great-great-grandfather Adolphus Busch started brewing a handcrafted beer right here in St. Louis called Budweiser. And that recipe of ingredients is the same today as it was when it was founded over 125 years ago. I think tradition is a very, very important thing because there are certain values like quality and integrity that really should never change. Budweiser started as a great beer and is still that same great beer today.
What will you do with the roomy Toyota Tundra double cab?
I'm going to take my family on vacation.
I'm gonna go bowling with the guys.
You know, I think I'll take my father-in-law camping.
With a roomy interior, you can do more. Tundra double cab. Now that's moving you forward.
There are riding mowers, and then there's the Edge cutting system. Only John Deere gives you the edge. With dependability beneath you and your John Deere dealer behind you, you'll always have a John Deere yard to look forward to. Own a John Deere now starting at $14.99. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Welcome back to the action, race fans. Hold on to your corn dogs, people. It's getting nasty out there. This enormous crowd comes to its feet for the final lap. Racer down, racer down. That'll jar his jam. It's a two-man race. Neville on the inside, Dathan on the outside, out the line. It's Kapletsky. Nev Kapletsky. He's got the possum off his back. That's a big win.
The Nike Shox Turbos, available at Finish Line.
Cocky's having some fun right now. So's the crowd of 16,000 plus on Super Tuesday. From Colonial Center, Columbia, South Carolina, the third-ranked team in the country is in a heap of trouble with 3:58 remaining in the ball game. They are losing to South Carolina 58-45. With Rick Majerus and Heather Cox, I'm Brad Nessler. This has been quite an outing for South Carolina. They're 11-2 at home this year. This place opened 3 years ago. This might be the biggest win they've ever had here if they can hold on. Scott Van Pelt, Steve Levy coming up at Sports Center next. Big East upset. Will the NHL come back from the brink? And the NFL Moss is staying in Minnesota, it appears. Robbie Moss is playing here tonight. He's in the lineup for Kentucky, but they trail by 13 with less than 4 minutes to go.
Showing a 2-3 zone. Maybe the biggest component in the half-court defense is being able to guard the ball, level that off, and then maintaining ball pressure, and they've done a wonderful job of those two aspects.
Another shot clock violation, another Kentucky turnover. That is their 20th, a season high. And in the second half, Kentucky is shooting only 29%. South Carolina shooting 58%. That's what they shot in the first half of the first game at Rupp. And they had a lead at halftime in that game. They had a 2-point lead in this one coming into the second half. But now the question is, can they hold on in 3.5 minutes to a big lead here? They certainly have played like it tonight. South Carolina has outplayed Kentucky regardless of the outcome or whatever this is going to be.
Really nice ball movement, terrific spacing.
Using some clock. 5 on the shot clock. Turnaround jumper is short. Bachman trying to knock it up there. When at least would hit the rim. Back comes Kentucky on the break. Moss is hammered by Kelly.
Good foul. That was a good foul.
So Moss will go to the free throw line. Tonight's Shooting the Rock is brought to you by Rock Green Lights. There's what I was just talking about. On the season, Kentucky in the SEC, 50%. Tonight they're only shooting 34%. And you can't do that on the road in any conference and expect to win. And Tubby Smith's face showing that right now. Remember, they got Mississippi State at Rupp Arena on Saturday night. In our Saturday primetime game, they, I'm pretty sure their fans at least, expected to go into that game at Rupp in Lexington with a 20-2 record and a perfect, unblemished mark of 11-0 in the conference. And it looks like that's about set to go by the boards unless they come up with some magic in the last 3 minutes. Moss got both free throws.
That foul was important because he didn't want him to get a dunk and get them all excited and then multiply points by expending pressure defense if in fact he had thrown that baby down.
Robbie Moss trying to put some pressure on Kelly in the backcourt. Kelly gets it ahead. Oh, Powell missed the slam, but he's fouled. As we check in with Heather.
Well, some bad news for South Carolina fans. Leading scorer Terrence Kinsey is out right now with a bruised back. The training staff has got heat on it. They're trying to loosen it up so that he can return to action. But right now, 17 points sitting on the bench for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, you can see he's saying, no, I'm okay. He's standing up. I don't think he'll sit down again the next 2:51, be it on the court or on the bench.
He said his last couple foul shots. Let's see if Paul can keep it going here.
And he does. After missing 4 in a row, he's hit 3 straight. And we talked about him being a non-factor offensively, and now he's in double figures with 10.
That up and under may have very well been the most important score of the second half.
Yeah.
That he hit there, and then he went and got himself a 3-point play the old-fashioned way, completing that through by splitting the double two-man contact.
He missed the second, and Chuck Hayes with the rebound. 12-point game. Perry has to make a tough catch, Perry rather, and then he stepped on the baseline. Wow. 21 Kentucky turnover.
That ref hustled his butt off. These refs have done a nice job here tonight. There he is right there. Look at the ref. He's right on it. That was a terrific call.
He had about a size 10 instead of a size 13. He'd have been all right.
Yeah.
Backcourt pressure timeout. Kelly's got to take the timeout call with 2:44 remaining in the ballgame.
But he had the presence of mind to call it, and they got 3 left. And he didn't want to get a turnover here up 12. That was a nice call.
Kentucky 13-3 over the years in Columbia. It's been a long time since they lost one here. It was number 3 Kentucky on that night against number 19 South Carolina. Less than 30 to go. Melvin Watson tied it at 74. In overtime, Watson again puts the Gamecocks up by 2. Then it's B.J. Mackey driving for the layup. South Carolina by 3. Kentucky tried a desperation shot that was no good, and in overtime, 84-79, and they stormed the court at McGuire Arena. Now, on this Super Tuesday, Kentucky has won 15 straight regular season matchups. They've won 19 straight SEC games, both regular season and postseason in the tournament in Atlanta last year. And now they're in trouble.
I would probably pull Wallace for one possession to get a little bit better foul shooter and ball handler in, although there's still 2:44 left.
Here comes the backcourt pressure from Kentucky. Kelly to inbound if he can find somebody. Has to just drop it to Trice and then right back to Kelly. Those two bring it up the court together.
I like anytime you get that ball away from Rajon Rondo.
Inside, Powell up with a left hand. It goes. Boy, he's been huge in the second half.
What a nice play by Powell, too, getting back. He didn't get a charge ball, but he made a terrific defensive stop.
3-pointers won't go for Kentucky right now, and they desperately need them. And they trail by 14. Biggest lead of the night. Don't forget, SportsCenter follows us.
I'll tell you what, I take my hat off to Tubby. He's got Sparks sitting on the bench after that shot, and Sparks is not the defensive player that he had been. South Carolina's got to watch their spacing here.
Kentucky 4 out of 18 from three-point range tonight. Bobby Perry trying to come up with a steal in front of Wallace, and he flies back out of bounds. So it actually changed possessions there momentarily. The shot clock goes back to 35.
They've got Rondo as a center fielder wild card, just letting him go where he might.
Here comes Kinsey, who's checked back into that bruised back that Heather was telling us about, and he is double-teamed, and did he get a timeout? He did.
And another good call. They still got 2 left. There's 2 minutes to go. They're playing the time. I like that timeout. It would have been better if they had not called it, but I'll tell you what, you do not want to turn over there throwing the ball across the face of the defense.
Well, we'll hope that the Thursday night crews will have as good a night as we have had tonight. Thursday night, ESPN and ESPN2 of the college basketball doubleheader. On ESPN at 7, Francisco Garcia and Louisville's Cardinals will take on the Golden Eagles of Marquette. That game also available on ESPN HD. And ESPN2 at 9, J.J. Redick and the Duke Blue Devils will take on the Virginia Tech Hokies. That's Throwdown Thursday on ESPN and ESPN2. South Carolina coming into this one. We talked about it a couple hours ago, Rick. Dave Odom talking about the loss to Auburn. He said that baby's going to haunt us all year. I said, well, it will unless you pull an upset tonight. This puts them right back in the driver's seat.
This puts them in the picture for an NCAA tournament bid, and it might put Kentucky into a spot where they do not get a #1 seed. There's a lot of ball to be played, though. But South Carolina definitely is a bubble team. But nothing will move you off that bubble in the direction of tournament like a win over Kentucky.
Well, this week is not going to get any easier, really, for South Carolina. They go to Alabama on Saturday. And Kentucky, as we mentioned earlier, will have Mississippi State at home, the friendly confines of Rupp Arena. That's the game we're talking about on Saturday primetime. And it looks like that perfect 10, that Bo Derek number, is going to turn into the wicked rich of the East tonight in Columbia, apparently. Bradley at the free throw line.
A nice move by Dave Odom on that timeout to go man-to-man so he doesn't give up an uncontested 3. But Wallace has got to be smart and not foul and stop the clock here. 13-point lead, 2 minutes to go. You don't want to put Kentucky on the free throw line.
Now Bradley, 5-point night for him. So he and Robbie Moss, between them, have 15 points off the Kentucky bench in the backcourt. And now here's the pressure again in the backcourt. Rondo, he's the guy you got to watch out for. He was calling for some help to get a trap, and they do come up with a steal. Now it's Bradley and Rondo bringing it together, and the follower is Azubuike.
Don't go away yet. This game is far from over.
Down to 10 with a minute 40 remaining. And again, Kentucky pressing all over the court. Almost an over and back there. Rondo force. Powell inside with a hook off the glass, and it goes in. They're going to give Wallace credit. I think it was Chuck Hayes.
It was Wallace. Oh, you think it was Hayes?
Doesn't matter. Wallace gets the deuce. And now whistle and a foul.
Here comes Rondo with those afterburners right back at you.
Take a look at the South Carolina basket. Well, both guys were there. Either way, number 33 gets it.
We got that Louisville-Marquette game coming up. I'll tell you one thing. Travis Dieter's going to play. He did not play the last time. And I know one thing. Crean's the competitor, and the Marquette, the old warrior of Marquette is going to come out.
Great article about the Dieners in the Sports Illustrated this week. If you haven't read that, you want to check that out because it talks about your favorite one of the Diener family, Grandma June.
Yeah, the pie baker, the hair cutter.
That's right. Rondo got them both. 10-point game, 125. Seems insurmountable. We've seen crazier things happen. The double team. Kelly gets it back. Now he's in the open floor. That's the guy they want to handle it. Rondo's got to foul him. And that means Craig Kelly will go to the free throw line, where he's not exactly tearing it up at the stripe either. 1 out of 3. I wish sometime tonight I could say somebody's been great at the free throw line. Neither team and no individuals per se have been very good at the free throw line tonight.
But there has been a wonderful effort by every player on the floor tonight.
They're going 100 miles an hour, aren't they?
Unbelievably competitive.
Remember, this thing was 25-23 at halftime. So to get to the point we're at, they've done a pretty good job with the scoring department in the second half. And now Kelly has missed 3 straight free throws in this half. And his 61 percentile is falling rapidly.
I like Sparks' body language coming in here. He probably knows he did wrong there on that shot. And he's coming in here.
Well, if ever they needed some 3-point marksmanship from Sparks, which is what his deal is, they need it pretty soon. Bradley, and he's not fouled. I thought he was going to go to the free throw line. Tried to draw a foul, didn't get it called.
Tell you what, these students might storm the court like that flashback we showed earlier, as well they should. Take a look at this.
Bradley trying to jump into a foul.
And what a wonderful job of avoiding the foul. Nice body control there. He got a hand up on the shooter, didn't get the foul. But that characterizes the South Carolina defense all night. Ball pressure, hand up on the shooter, coming to penetration and blocking out and rebounding the long ball down. They took Kentucky out of the game.
Foul under 50% tonight has now made it to 50% from the free throw line.
You do not want to be Mississippi State coming in.
Oh, the Rupp Arena?
Yeah, and you would not want to be on that Kentucky plane tonight.
No, you wouldn't.
But he's a terrific coach and a great guy, but I'll tell you what, they're gonna have a long meeting.
Winston Frazier saying, I'm coming back for Whit game?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Perry, rejected by Powell.
I wonder what the record is for most block shots in the game.
We've had them tonight by both sides, I'll tell you that much. And look at the crowd at Colonial Center. They are loving the Gamecocks with 63 seconds to go.
What a big win for South Carolina. Puts them back in the tournament picture. Odom and I just made eye contact. I went over to his house for dinner the other night. I told him it's the year of the rooster, man. He's a great guy. Tubby's a great guy, too. These are 2 wonderful guys.
Tell you what.
Want your son to play for them.
Kentucky, or rather South Carolina's had 9 games decided by 4 points or less. And a lot of them are the big games that they've played. The Kansases and the Pitts and the Kentucky the previous time. They were 4 and 5 in those games coming into this. And now they're going to have a game that isn't that close because they're going to be the victor. And they're going to split with Kentucky on the season. Great job by Tisby off the bench tonight. Less than a minute. Rondo for 3, and that'll quiet the crowd just momentarily. Tubby Smith gets a quick timeout call in an 11-point game. 55.7 seconds remaining.
Every time I see this situation, I think of the great Dean Smith. In my estimation, he and Wooden, the 2 greatest coaches ever. You know, the thing about it, I remember him with that comeback from 10 down to win a game. And so many times, too. Well, he did it to me once. I mean, he's just superb.
We talked about in our flashback thing tonight that we went back to Tuesday, the February 14th game I did, Kentucky and LSU. Rick Pitino's Kentucky Cats. They just kept shooting threes and they kept dropping. That's what this team does not have, at least not tonight. They don't have a guy that can score from the outside.
No, Sparks is a little bit erratic, and tonight he got rushed on his shot. But credit South Carolina with a wonderful game plan, execution of it, and it was about the South Carolina defense and judicious shot selection, which they had not had in a lot of prior games. Tell you what, I saw that Auburn film. I can't believe it's the same team.
Isn't that amazing how from game to game it can change? And Sparks just grabbed the jersey of Trice. So Sparks picks up his 4th foul, and Trice will walk down the other way. And he is, quite frankly, one of their best free throw shooters. He is the best free throw shooter on the team. Doesn't get as many opportunities as maybe some of the starters, but he didn't miss many. He's 25 out of 28 on the year. Rocky Trice played at Georgia Perimeter College first couple of years, native of Swainsboro, Georgia. There's what he's accomplished tonight. All 4 of his points in the second half, and he has the free throw stroke. Bachman, great defensive job tonight. And on the other side, shaking their head and wondering what hit them in Columbia on the 3rd-ranked Kentucky Wildcats, who will not be number 3 next week, regardless of what they do against Mississippi State. Rondo pushes the shot up, and the rebound comes off to Carolina. And running through traffic, Rondo fouls Goddard.
Kentucky's young. We forget how young sometimes they are.
Yeah, that's true.
Hayes, you wouldn't want to play with that face mask. That guy's all heart. Azubuike had a tough day. We alluded to it earlier. But he's a wonderful young guy. He'll go on.
And now the kids from South Carolina urging on the 16,107 that came to cheer them on.
I hope they storm the court, carry the guys off. This is what makes college ball so special.
They hit the court. I hope they don't come over our table. They come in on both ends.
We got some old guys.
Yeah, we got guys. We got guys with money behind us.
These guys look like they're money guys, wine and Caesars. These guys want to get up behind us and have grits in the morning.
Trey Kelly just walked over and hugged Dave Odom. This is going to be a huge, no pun intended, but a feather in the Gamecocks' bonnets.
And you know something? Tubby was coaching through this. He never stopped coaching. Plus today, he spoke at the Carolina Booster Club. He and Odom are great friends.
I mentioned Tubby, a former assistant at South Carolina under George Felton.
All class, Tubby. Gave a wonderful talk today. Very appreciative of Frank McGuire's experience here as an assistant at South Carolina.
Bradley knocks in a long, long 3. Gets it back to 10. But only a little over a half minute left.
Now there's an intentional call. I missed that call earlier, and I apologize to the fans. I thought that I saw him X his hands before.
Here's Bradley trying to keep it close, way outside.
Yeah, he's in the roaming range there.
Yeah, and there's the foul as Rondo just grabs Gunner. Kentucky's going to fall for the first time in conference play. We talked about the other teams. There aren't many teams or many conferences that can brag about having an undefeated squad. Kentucky was one of those.
It's a tough league. It's a very good league. Nothing's like the SEC. In my opinion, that's league number 1. Then you can put the Big 12, the Big East, and I think this league here, the Southeastern Conference, and put them in a hat and pick any one of them for 2, 3, and 4.
71-59. Final 37 seconds.
The Southeastern Conference, though, does have unbelievable freshmen. Steele at Alabama, Rondo here at Kentucky, Douglas at Auburn, Baby Shaq, Len Davis at LSU, Lofton at Tennessee. This league's going to be heard from and get nothing but better. Horford, of course, in Florida, Gaines at Georgia, Pons at Arkansas. All those guys are... My favorite sophomore might be the Brewer kid, son of one of the triplets at Arkansas.
Rondo's going to try long threes, but out there running the court tonight. He's barely got enough push to get it back up there. Now he feeds inside, and they get the bucket underneath from Robbie Moss. And Kentucky will take a timeout, and that's going to draw the Bluebirds to Tubby Smith. There's a 10-point ball game with 25.9 remaining.
This is what distinguishes college ball from the NBA. These guys aren't going to mail it in. He's going to keep coaching. They're going to keep competing. This can be a learning experience. Now he's ready to play. He is not doing this to embarrass his team. He's doing this to gain a valuable lesson. This is a teachable moment here, which is the essence of coaching.
Here's what we talked about coming into tonight. Illinois perfect, Pacific in the Big West, Penn in the Ivy, And Utah, Rick's old team in the Mountain West, but there's going to be a 1 next to that 10 now in the SEC in 25.9 seconds for Kentucky. And they'll go back to the drawing board in Lexington. And it will be a harsh drawing board, as Rick said, I'm sure. And you probably won't recognize these guys in blue on Saturday nights in our primetime encounter against Mississippi State.
Well, old Bully and the Bulldogs, they're going to catch it Saturday.
And it's got it on the break. But take absolutely nothing away from South Carolina. No. They played better. They're going to win this game. They're going to upset a third-ranked team. And they deserve everything they get from their crowd tonight, from their coach, from themselves, because for the first time in forever, they've beaten Kentucky. And the guy that was the big scorer dribbling around court right now, Kinsey, South Carolina wins it.
The year of the Rooster. Unbelievable. Thank God we got the big builders behind us.
One of Dave Odom's bigger wins since he came to South Carolina 4 years ago, even though he was SEC Coach of the Year last year and took him to the NCAA tournament. They may have taken the step they needed just now to get back in that direction. Still a lot of regular season basketball left, but boy, will their attitude improve after losing a heartbreaker to Auburn over the weekend. They pick off Kentucky 73-61. Heathers with Dave Odom.
And South Carolina hands Kentucky its first SEC loss to the season. Coach, earlier today you told me the only way you can beat Kentucky is to combat their size and strength. How were you able to do that?
Well, we changed defenses and we played more players than we've been playing. The kid Antoine Tisby really gives us a different element in terms of being able to rebound the ball and inside strength. And, you know, so he certainly should be given a lot of credit. But we had a lot of kids across the board that played well. Crowd was great. I'm just happy for the university and for our team.
Crowd's certainly great. I'm impressed you can keep your composure together. Now, Coach, how much does a win like this keep your tournament hopes alive?
Well, I mean, you know, anytime you beat a top-ranked team like Kentucky, it's certainly got to help you. But we still got 5 important games to go. They all count the same, and, you know, we just got to move on. Certainly, I'm very thankful for this and very happy for our team.
Coach, congratulations on this story.
Well, Dave Odom just echoed what we said. A lot of basketball left, but when you're 14-8 and you're over 500 in the SEC and you've just picked off number 3 Kentucky, it sure makes a step in the right direction as far as the committee's concerned. 73-61, the final score, the upset from Columbia. For Rick Majerus and Heather Cox, I'm Brad Nessler. SportsCenter's coming up next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
With all the changes to the World Champs roster, will the big money additions to the Red Sox...
Watching the Yellow Jackets College Basketball Preview Show.
I promise. I promise.
Chevy promises to keep building.
The most dependable, longest lasting trucks on the road.
Chevy promises a bold new look in the Silverado halftime.
With more stand horsepower and payload than Ford or Dodge crew cabs.
Now lease an 06 Chevy Silverado half-ton crew cab LT two-wheel drive for around $299 a month. Residency restrictions apply. Call for details.
That's the Chevy Total Value Promise, and it starts right here.
See your local Chevy dealer.
Coming up next, South Carolina on ACC SEC College Hoops Preview.
Things never looked finer in Carolina than when the Gamecocks took home the NIT title last year. Now, they want an invite to the big dance. And with a deep backcourt doing the two-step over SEC opponents, they just might get it. Time to take a look at the Gamecocks. It's all coming up on the South Carolina College Hoops Preview. From the campus of the University of South Carolina in Columbia, here's your host, Jen Hildreth.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the show. Well, the good news for the Gamecocks is that they're coming off a national title. The bad news is that it was won in the NIT rather than the NCAA. Still, head coach Dave Odom feels his team gained a lot of confidence and experience from the program's first ever run to the NIT title, and he's hoping some of that will carry over into this season. For a closer look at the Gamecocks, here's Paul Crane.
Jen, winning the NIT was great, but for the Gamecocks, it's all about getting back to the NCAA tournament. With just one trip in Dave Odom's first 4 years at South Carolina, the team would like to take the great NIT experience and not only reach the NCAAs, but win there, which the Gamecocks have not done since 1973. South Carolina opened last season 5-0, the most impressive win coming in late November against Temple behind 22 from Carlos Powell. 2 close losses proved the Gamecocks could compete. At storied Allen Fieldhouse in mid-December, where Kansas won 64-60. In the conference opener at Kentucky's Rupp Arena, the Wildcats had to battle for a 4-point win, but the Gamecocks would learn there are no moral victories. The team did not get a road win until February at last place Georgia, and that was the only road win of the season. In the conference tournament, Carolina opened with a wild one against Ole Miss. Trey Kelly hit what looked like a desperation 3 with 1.7 seconds to play to tie the game. But after officials looked at several replays, they ruled his toe was touching the arc, making it a 2-pointer.